Well, hello everyone. It's good to see you again. I'm excited as we're continuing on with our Quiet Time series. We're on part 6 of Lessons from Our King as we're learning from Jesus as He called people to follow Him. He was calling them to imitate Him, to be a part of His life, to imitate His way of life. And these guys and these disciples that He called to follow Him would go on to change the world, and He's calling us to do the same thing. And we can learn so many different lessons from Him. And today we're going to talk about this lesson of don't be too busy to see. S-E-E. Don't be too busy to see. We're going to be looking at Mark chapter 2, verse 13 to 14 to understand what I'm saying here. Jesus, once again, went out beside the lake. A large crowd came to Him, and He began to teach them. As He walked along, He saw Levi, son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax collector's booth. "Follow me," Jesus told him. And Levi got up and he followed Him. Mark tells us that Jesus was once again out beside a lake preaching the gospel. He's preaching the word, and a large crowd once again is following Him out there. They came out there to see and to listen to Him. And then as He's walking along, it says He saw Levi. Now, Jesus saw a lot of people. He had this crowd following Him. He saw a lot of people, but I don't know what it was about Levi that made Jesus actually see him and single him out of the crowd. Maybe it was the look on his face. Maybe just Jesus took one good look in his eyes, and I don't know. He just said, "I got to have that guy. I got to ask him to follow me." Maybe it was a smile on his face. He was like, "Yeah, I'm collecting people's taxes. I'm kind of enjoying taking people's money." Maybe he saw that and wanted to give him some direction. Maybe he saw some hurt or pain in his eyes. But who knows what Jesus saw in Levi? Maybe it has nothing to do with him and has everything to do with Jesus. You see, in this short interaction, we learn something about Jesus in that He was never too busy for the individual. You know, even though He would be regularly was followed by large crowds, He was always looking for the individual. And that's one of the things that I admire so much about Christ, is time and time again, He shows us that it was about people, because He knew that people were precious. He had compassion on everyone. He always thought about the individuals, and you can read through the Gospels and you see His life. Jesus was constantly interrupted, and how He handled those interruptions, man, is just such a high calling. Amidst all the chaos that would follow Him sometimes, He still took time to actually see people. You know, think about Jesus on the cross even. And He took time to see His mom and make sure that she was taken care of after He left the earth. And you might say, well, that's His mom. Of course He's going to see her, but what about the guy on the cross next to Him that He took time to see and took time to comfort? What about the guys that actually put Him on the cross, that He took time to see and pray for and say, "God, please forgive those people"? You see, Jesus was never too busy to see people. Now, we're in a time right now because of the coronavirus where we've been asked to social distance, keep a little space between each other. We've been asked to stay home. You know, we're probably not finding ourselves in a giant sea of people at this moment, but I want to put a little bit of a positive spin on it for you. I want to ask you to use this time to imitate this part of Christ's character. You see, while you're out at your home, or you're on a walk, or on a grocery run, take time to see people. You see, the fact is, the world has come to a screeching halt, and that might be a good thing, because before that happened, one of the things that I saw is there was a lot of people being together, being with one another, but not really seeing one another. You see, things like our screens got a lot more attention than the individual. I would see families at dinner tables. They were eating together, but they weren't seeing each other. Families like this one. I would see couples cuddled on a couch. Married couples cuddled on a couch, And they would be glued to a screen instead of actually seeing each other. You know, now that life's a little bit slower for you, take time to see the individual while you have it. Practice that skill again if you've lost it. I know I have to keep on practicing this one. You know, it's funny because as I'm talking about this and sharing this with you, I'm looking into a screen. You know, my screen time has actually been up. But you know why? It's because I'm using my screen time as my see time. So I can see people, so I can see you, so I can see the individual. Maybe that's what we want to start I want to challenge you to do is take your screen time and make it more about see time. Don't be so inundated on the news or watching shows. Even though that's not necessarily a bad thing, but take your screen time and see how can I use it to connect with other people. Make it good again. You know, see, Jesus saw this man sitting at a tax collector's booth. He asked him to follow him, and it changed his life. And it's actually changing ours too, because that man, Levi, he went on to write the Gospel of Matthew for all of us to read, and it's still changing lives to this day, and it has been for the last 2,000 years. All because Jesus took time to see him. Let's imitate our King. Take time to see people. I got 2 challenges for you. So when you're out and about, here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at people in the face and smile. It's pretty simple, but instead of looking down or looking around or looking at your screen, look at them in the face and smile. Now, if you're wearing a mask, as most of us are probably doing, you can't see the smile, so nod or give a wave or something like that, but take time to see people. Don't be so focused on yourself. Don't be so focused on the ground or another screen, but look at people. Try to teach your kids the same thing. And the next thing is practice seeing people around you, meaning looking at the individual so that when we are all back together, we don't resort back to old patterns. It's been great to be together. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for our final lesson as we learn about and talk about how Jesus broke social barriers. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. God bless.